So your ultimate goal is to get them out of Iraq. Is that relocation facilitated by the designation of the MEK as a foreign terrorist organization? Or is it impeded by that designation?
The Secretary of State's decision on the designation will be made on the basis of the facts and the law, not on even my own considerations.
Yeah, and I didn't ask you what she's going to do or what she should do. I just asked whether the current situation impedes you and your stated goal. I mean, there may be other reasons why that designation is maintained, but as long as it's maintained, does it impede you in achieving your goal?
I have to work with the designation as long as it exists.
We know that.
And I will do my best to work with what I've got. That decision will be made apart from my office. Secretary Clinton did say on February 29 that MEK cooperation in the closure of Camp Ashraf will be a key factor in any decision. And it's also my understanding that the State Department is prepared to make that decision within 60 days of the closure of Camp Ashraf.
Is there anything in the statute that says you have to cooperate in moving into what could very well be an Iraqi government plan for a death camp in order not to be designated a terrorist organization? I've read the statute, and there's no I mean, there are lots of organizations around the world that are not cooperating in their relocation, and that is not a factor, under the statute at least, in designating an organization a foreign terrorist organization. My wife wants me to move, or us to move. I don't want to move. I'm not willing to move. Have you designated me yet?
I wouldn't think of interfering in your wife's designation in any way.
But the point I'm making is there any legal basis to in effect, require relocation in order to not be designated or continue to be designated a terrorist organization?
Here, too, the question you raised is very close to the issues that are now being litigated, so I've got to stand back. Not actually my nature to do so, but it is required of me that I stand back because this is active litigation.
Well, it's active litigation as to which the court was misled by the State Department's attorney. It's active litigation as to which the State Department appears to be using designation as terrorist organization in order to push for policy changes that have nothing to do with whether one is a terrorist organization or not. You won't admit it on the record, but you certainly haven't argued against my belief that the fact that the MEK is designated impairs your efforts to get people relocated outside of Iraq. And if you have an argument against that conclusion, I'll give you a chance to, and I don't see you grabbing the microphone, so I'll go on, unless you do want to grab the microphone.
I won't argue against that assertion, but I will say that the efforts of all those who want to see the residents of Ashraf safe and secure and out of Iraq, that effort will be enhanced and advanced if we work together to help the process move along as it has moved along since December. The last convoys need to leave Camp Ashraf for Camp Huria. Camp Ashraf should be closed. The international community needs to step up and do its part to help people get out. And since I think it is important that all those who agree that this should be the objective ought to be working together to achieve that objective. And it's my hope that we can work together in that direction.
The chairman's been very generous, and I'll just conclude by saying it's by no means clear that this relocation is not an Iraqi government first step toward mass executions. But in any case, what is clear is that many of the countries in the world to which people may be relocated are democracies, and let me tell you, it would be extremely difficult for the immigration minister of any democracy to admit any person from this camp while the organization is designated by the great United States as a foreign terrorist organization. So if you're able to relocate anybody while that designation remains in place, you are doing the near impossible. But I'm not sure you can do the near impossible thousands of times, and we've got thousands of people to relocate. Mr. Chairman, thank you for this indulgence.
Yes, Mr. Sherman. We have with us Congressman Rivera, a member of this subcommittee, and he is recognized for what time he may choose to consume.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ambassador, thank you very much for being here today. I'm wondering if you could apprise the committee on two issues. One is inspections, particularly State Department inspections, the status or history or evolution of State Department inspections. And second, this issue of the belongings, the personal belongings of those in Camp Ashraf, and as well as these reports of confiscations and lootings and so forth. So let's start off with the inspections.
I have to, as I've said earlier before you came in, sir, that because there is active litigation going on about Camp Ashraf and about some of these issues, I have to be extraordinarily careful. The mandate of my office is to help move people in safety and security from Ashraf to Camp Liberty, now called Camp Huria, and from Camp Huria out of Iraq. The issue of Camp Ashraf and inspections and all of that business is the subject of letters and motions. There is a long history to that. It's partly during the many years we had troops in Iraq, it was the Department of Defense that was responsible. The State Department, during my time responsible for this issue, has devoted its energies to working on the priorities I mentioned, that is the convoys from Ashraf to Huria, and the living conditions at Huria, and support of the UN mission, which is to help get these people out of Iraq. So the issue is being handled. The issue of inspections is being handled in another venue. I regret any expenditure of energy which will not advance the process I laid out. Our priority, it seems to me, should be to get people from Ashraf to Liberty and from Liberty out of Iraq, and to do so as quickly as we can, safely, and with consideration for basic, decent human standards.